War-torn countries may seem like the last place for tourism, but some travelers are still venturing into conflict zones. With Ukraine, Syria, and other regions facing instability, the question is, can you visit these places safely? While some areas remain off-limits, others are cautiously reopening, offering a unique yet risky travel experience. But is it worth the danger? What precautions should you take? In this video, we'll explore the reality of tourism in war-affected nations, the risks involved, and what you need to know before considering such a trip. Let's get started. Today, we'll talk about tourism in war-torn countries. Can you travel safely to Ukraine and beyond? So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel. Tourism is about adventure, exploration, and experiencing the world's cultures. But what happens when the places you want to visit are in the middle of war or conflict? In 2025, several countries remain at war or suffer from extreme political instability, yet some travelers still wonder if it's possible to visit them safely. Countries like Ukraine, Syria, Yemen, and Afghanistan remain in turmoil, yet some adventurers, journalists, and even curious tourists seek ways to enter these regions. Traveling to war-torn countries is not the same as visiting a peaceful destination. The risks are enormous, including airstrikes, terrorist attacks, kidnappings, and even wrongful detentions. Many of these countries have little to no infrastructure, which means that in the event of an emergency, help may not be available. While some travelers believe that careful planning and connections can allow for a safe experience, the reality is that no amount of preparation can guarantee safety in an active war zone. In recent years, Ukraine has become a major focal point for travelers due to its ongoing war with Russia. Some argue that parts of Ukraine, especially in the west, remain relatively safe for visitors, while others warn that nowhere in the country is free from danger. But Ukraine is not the only country facing such dilemmas. From the Middle East to Africa, war-torn nations continue to exist, raising the question, can you travel safely to these places? And should you even try? Ukraine, a nation at war and its tourist dilemma. Ukraine, once a thriving tourist destination in Eastern Europe, has been at war since Russia's invasion in 2022. Cities like Kyiv and Lviv, known for their stunning architecture and vibrant culture, have faced waves of attacks, missile strikes, and air raid sirens. While some tourists believe they can still visit Ukraine safely, the reality is that no part of the country is completely secure. Even in regions where the conflict is less intense, the threat of drone attacks or missile strikes remains. Despite the dangers, some foreign visitors have entered Ukraine, particularly in the western areas like Lviv and Novgorod, where the war's impact is less visible. Some claim that daily life continues in these regions with cafes, museums, and hotels still open. However, the situation is unpredictable. A city that seems calm one day can become the target of attacks the next. Many embassies have issued strict travel warnings advising their citizens against visiting Ukraine. The country is under martial law, and foreign visitors may be viewed with suspicion. Journalists and aid workers travel to Ukraine for essential work, but ordinary tourists risk not only their safety, but also becoming a liability in case of emergencies. The infrastructure in Ukraine has suffered significant damage. Train stations, airports, and roads have been targeted, making transportation difficult. Medical services are overwhelmed, and in the event of an injury or accident, getting treatment could be extremely challenging. Even if a traveler avoids direct conflict zones, the mental and emotional toll of being in a war-affected country cannot be underestimated. Syria, a country still in the grip of war. Syria was once a jewel of the Middle East, home to stunning ancient ruins, breathtaking landscapes, and a rich history. However, years of civil war have left the country in ruins. While the government now controls large portions of Syria, parts of the country remain under threat from extremist groups and ongoing conflicts. Some travelers have ventured into government-controlled areas such as Damascus, hoping to witness the country's historic sites. However, the risks are extremely high. The possibility of sudden attacks, bombings, and military operations remains, and foreigners could be detained by security forces or fall victim to terrorist groups. Beyond the security risks, the infrastructure in Syria is severely damaged. Many roads and bridges are destroyed, making travel extremely difficult. Basic services such as clean water, electricity, and medical care are unreliable. Tourists may find themselves without access to essentials, putting them in dangerous situations. Yemen, a war-torn nation with no safety for tourists. Yemen is another country that was once a beautiful travel destination and known for its stunning mountains, ancient architecture, and unique culture. However, Yemen has been engulfed in a brutal war for years, making it one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Airstrikes, ground battles, and humanitarian crises define daily life in Yemen, and even locals struggle to survive. Foreigners in Yemen are at extreme risk of being kidnapped by militant groups or criminal organizations. The country has been a hotspot for hostage situations where tourists, journalists, and aid workers have been taken for ransom. The lack of law enforcement and security means that even well-prepared travelers cannot guarantee their safety. The humanitarian crisis in Yemen also makes it nearly impossible for foreigners to navigate the country. Food and clean water shortages, a collapsed healthcare system, and ongoing military operations create an environment that is not only dangerous but nearly unlivable. Afghanistan. A nation under the Taliban, Afghanistan remains one of the most volatile countries in the world. Since the Taliban took over in 2021, the security situation has only worsened. Tourists are at risk of being detained by the authorities, attacked by terrorist groups, or caught in violent conflicts. The country is under strict rule, with heavy restrictions on movement, particularly for foreigners. Even if a traveler manages to enter Afghanistan, the risks outweigh any potential rewards. Attacks on hotels, markets, and government buildings are frequent. The infrastructure is weak, medical services are extremely limited, and there is no guarantee of assistance in case of emergencies. The ethics of traveling to war-torn countries. Beyond personal safety, there is also an ethical question about whether travelers should visit war-torn countries at all. Some argue that visiting these places brings much-needed tourism revenue to local economies, but in reality, very little of that money benefits ordinary people. Many war-affected areas are controlled by armed groups, corrupt officials, or criminal organizations, meaning that tourism dollars could end up funding violence. Traveling to a country in conflict also puts additional strain on already struggling local populations. War zones often lack resources such as food, medical supplies, and shelter. Tourists entering these areas could end up taking away resources that should be reserved for locals who are fighting for survival. Additionally, foreign visitors could inadvertently put locals in danger. In some war-torn countries, foreign presence attracts unwanted attention, making local residents targets for extremists, law enforcement crackdowns, or criminals looking for ransom opportunities. Safer alternatives for adventure seekers. For those who crave adventure and wish to visit places with unique histories and cultures, there are many safer alternatives. Countries recovering from past conflicts, such as Vietnam, Cambodia, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, offer rich experiences without the immediate dangers of an active war zone. These destinations provide travelers with history, culture, and adventure without the extreme risks associated with modern conflict zones. Even within Ukraine, safer alternatives exist. Neighboring countries like Poland, Slovakia, and Romania offer similar cultural experiences without the risks of war. Exploring the history, cuisine, and traditions of these nations can be just as rewarding without putting one's life in danger. Is it worth the risk? While some travelers are drawn to the idea of visiting war-torn countries, the risks often far outweigh the rewards. Countries like Ukraine, Syria, Yemen, and Afghanistan remain highly dangerous with unpredictable conflicts, weak infrastructure, and extreme security risks. No amount of planning or preparation can eliminate the dangers of visiting a war zone. Before considering travel to any of these regions, it's essential to ask whether the experience is worth the potential consequences. The world is full of incredible places to explore, and choosing destinations where safety is assured allows travelers to enjoy their journeys without unnecessary risks. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.